Thank you so much for joining me today right here in my home. I really appreciate it. My name is Morris Northcutt, and I'm a trumpet soloist from the United States. I'm also a Bach Conselmer trumpet artist and clinician. I'm deeply honored to be able to present some information about the instrument that we all love, and that's, of course, the trumpet. With this being the 115th birthday year of my trumpet hero, Rafael Méndez, it's especially important to me. It's a big highlight. I really appreciate that. And so I owe many thanks to the Rafael Méndez International Brass Festival for this invitation. I mean, you're doing wonderful things in helping support financially some artists and their families during this crazy COVID time. All of you who are watching right now, if you're in a position to be able to help, please consider donating through the link provided. And lastly, I'd like to thank the Conselmer Bach Corporation for the support of my appearance with you today. I really appreciate that. And just quickly about myself, I'm Asian American. My mother was from Korea and my father was from Illinois, and I grew up listening to a fair amount of country and Western music, but then after picking up the trumpet, I began to be incredibly influenced by the great trumpet players like Harry James, Rafael Méndez, of course, Doc Severinsen, Timothy Dockschitzer, and Maurice Andre. These, I'm sure, are also your trumpet heroes. But what I learned most from them was that their sound and their phrasing drove their story. It's what made them so influential in my career. It's why we should always play with passion or reverence. So, why do it? Why play with passion? Well, playing with passion or reverence simply means to play your music as though each note is your last note, where every phrase has meaning, a purpose, and a direction that goes a long way towards separating you from other trumpet players. Musically speaking, it means that you really need to take the time to understand the message or the story that's being told or that you'd like to tell. And this is a crucial strategy to master. I mean, you should ask yourself each time you perform, what do I want listeners to take away from my performance? Am I trying to convey a specific emotion like anger or sadness or joy? Is there an actual storyline or narrative I want to express or indicate? So let me play something for you. So what's the goal here? What's the actual purpose of the piece I'm playing? You can simply ask these questions as a silent exercise or take out a pen and paper and write it down. But at the end of the day, what you want is to stay authentic to your goals as an artist and let that power your musical performance. Let me share with you a single I released on September 11th. This was written for me by a talented up-and-coming composer, Nicole Puno. Here she describes the composition as follows. All Is Waiting was written for Morris Northcutt. Morris asked for an unaccompanied solo that was reflective and humble. And the word humble helped me write because it gave me permission to write in a simple yet beautiful way that allowed the timbre of the trumpet to be the main focus. My intent with this piece was to reveal a sense of peace as well as longing. I believe a person reveals a sense of humility when they're able to find peace in the midst of waiting. Now, here's the video. The audio portion of it is also available on Spotify. I hope you'll listen to it there as well. If you're painting a picture, what would you be trying to illustrate? And this is how famous singers like Pavarotti or Judy Garland became so popular. They understood that it just wasn't enough to just sing pretty to connect with your audiences. They knew the importance of truly moving people with their music. So when I approach a song, one of the first things I like to do is to make sure that the lyrics are right in front of me. And I need to know that I really understand them. That helps me set the mood. I can even follow some of the punctuation to help determine my own phrasing. But with solos or melodies perhaps that don't have lyrics, you can make up your own. Create your own sentences that can line up with the music, and that'll help you decide where to not take that next breath. Or it'll at least help you understand that your performance is part of a larger context or a mission. You'll become much more aware of how everything fits together, including the lyrics, of course, of the piece. So the more you practice doing this, it'll be a lot easier. It'll just get easier and easier every time. And everyone in the audience, although may not agree with your phrasing, that's okay. I mean, that's all right. The point is to be intentional. It's a lot harder for someone to criticize you for your interpretation than for giving a boring performance. So once you start adding that passion along with your beautiful tone, you'll be able to reach audiences right away. Just remember to be intentional. So if you can join me in a few weeks during my live masterclass, perhaps we can talk some more details on the mechanics of it, what we can do in the music that will go a long way to helping you play reverent and beautiful. So that's it for now. I'd like to share a couple of songs I did recently, performances that were done at home and or on location. So thanks again for watching. It was fantastic meeting you here in my home. Let's catch up in a few weeks. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.